Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw a wolf. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the top part of the body. An easy way to draw a circle is to first make a couple of small marks to indicate the circle's length, and then on the sides make a couple more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then just connect the small marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. You don't have to draw a perfect circle, but if you're having trouble drawing one, just trace the outer edge of a coin, a bottle cap, or anything else with a circular edge. On the bottom left side, draw another circle as a guide for the lower section of the body. Make this circle about 2/3 the size of the first circle. Don't place the circles too close together or the body will be too short. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also, pause the video as you follow along to draw at your own pace. Above the first circle, draw another circle as a guide for the head. Make this circle about half the size of the first circle. Place this circle slightly to the right of the body circle. Inside the head circle, draw a diagonal line for a construction guide. On top of the head circle, draw a small arc as a guide for the top jaw. Pay attention to the size of the arc in relation to the head. To the right, draw a smaller, thinner arc as a guide for the lower jaw. Place this arc to the right of the construction guide. On the bottom left side of the head, draw another arc as a guide for the ear. Make this guide a bit pointier at the top. Below the first circle, draw a long vertical line as a guide for the front leg. Bend the line slightly a couple of times to indicate the joints. Bend the bottom tip to the right as a guide for the foot. Draw a diagonal line across the circle at the bottom as a guide for the hind leg. At the bottom, draw a horizontal line as a guide for the foot. Connect the head to the body using short lines to create the guide for the neck. The shape of the neck should be wide. Connect the body circles using long sloping lines to finish the guide for the torso. The bottom line should be slightly longer. On the bottom left side of the body, draw a long curved line as a guide for the tail. Curve the line to the right so that it's under the hind foot. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, draw a short, thick line for the closed eye. Place the arc near the top and close to the left edge of the top jaw. Add a few short strokes around the eye for fur. On the tip of the big arc, lightly sketch a small triangle for the nose. The triangle should be small in relation to the arc. When you get the size and position of the nose right, darken the shape. Make the shape of the nose thin. Draw a short line inside the shape for the nostril. Make the bottom edge of the nose curved. Darken the right side of the arc for the top edge of the open mouth. Make the line a bit more curved than the arc. Now darken the smaller arc to create the lower jaw. Make the top edge of the lower jaw a bit more wavy. Use a couple of short strokes to create a furry chin. Inside the mouth, draw a couple of small triangular shapes for the canines. Don't make the teeth too big. Darken the arc on the bottom left side to create the ear. Make the sides of the ear a bit more curved than the arc. Draw a few short strokes within the shape for the ear's furry opening. Darken the line to the left of the nose for the top part of the muzzle. Use the initial circle as a guide to draw the rest of the head. Follow the basic path of the circle as you create the shape of the head. Use a series of short strokes on the right side to create a furry texture. Add a few short strokes below the ear too. To the left of the ear, draw an angled line for the other ear. Only draw the small visible section of this ear. Use the long angled line under the body as a guide to draw the front leg. First, lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Make the top of the leg wide and gradually make it thinner toward the bottom. Bend the shape of the leg slightly at the top and bottom to indicate the joints. At the very bottom, bend the shape to the right to create the foot. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Use a series of short strokes as you darken the left side of the leg to create a furry texture. Draw a curved line near the tip of the foot to separate the toes. On the tip of each toe, draw a small triangular shape for the nails. To the right, draw the other front leg the same way. Follow the path of the first leg as you draw this leg. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the lines when you get the shape right. Draw a curved line on the tip of the foot for the toes. On the tips of the toes, draw small triangular shapes for the nails. Use the angled line to the left as a guide to draw the hind leg. Lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the diagonal line. The shape of the leg should be similar to a diamond with rounded corners. Draw a curved line at the bottom for the foot. Make the shape of the foot thin. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Use short strokes as you darken the leg to create a furry texture. Don't close off the shape on the left side. Darken the shape at the bottom to create the foot. Draw a couple of short curved lines on the tip of the foot to separate the toes. On the tips of the toes, draw small triangular shapes for the nails. To the right, draw a long thin shape for the other hind foot. Draw short curved lines for the toes and small triangular shapes for the nails. Use the remaining shapes and lines as guides to draw the rest of the body. Simply darken the outer edges of the guides to create the shape of the body. Use a series of short strokes as you darken the edges of the body to create a furry texture. Draw the shape of the tail around the guideline at the bottom. Make the shape of the tail wide, but make the tip thin and pointy. Use short strokes as you draw the tail to create a furry texture. Now erase the initial guidelines. The next few steps are sped up so that the video isn't too long. You don't have to erase all of the guidelines. It's okay if you leave some behind. Redraw any of the final lines that you may have accidentally erased. Now shade your drawing. Use a medium value across the body, but leave the face blank for the white fur. Shade lightly at first and gradually build up to darker values. For light values, push down very lightly on your pencil, then push down harder to create darker values. As you shade, use strokes that go in the direction of the fur. The fur mainly has a vertical orientation. Draw a series of curved lines as you add the value for clumps of fur. Add rows of dots below the nose for the bases of the whiskers. Leave the inside of the ear blank for the white fur. Use a medium value to shade the top part of the head. Using a darker value, add a couple of marks inside the head. Add a slightly darker value across the body to create shadows. Shadows will give the figure more dimension and volume. Slowly and gradually add darker values throughout the body. Draw a cast shadow at the bottom using a medium value. Shading can be time-consuming, so be patient and take breaks. Keep shading until you're happy with the result, and that's it for the wolf. Don't forget to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com for more tutorials. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying my books on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.